On the other side of the ledger, our Rav at the time was Rabbi Yonason Sachs, and he was very concerned about us leaving Passaic, and he gave us, without getting into a lot of detail, he voiced a lot of concerns about what the experience was going to be like, and I remember he and my father-in-law, Shalom, and my father-in-law was very, very encouraging as far as the pride that he had about us moving here was really more than anyone else. He was very, very proud and very, very Zionistic. That said, he did give us a cautionary tale because there was actually a family that was moving to Baltimore the year that we were moving here from Israel, who had been here a similar amount of time that we've been here. And he said, you're going to very possibly end up like them because they're moving back now that their kids are older, and they're coming back for the chinuch of the kids, similar a little bit in that sense to what Rabbi Sachs was saying. And we sort of were torn, and I just graduated, or about to graduate Orthodox school, and we felt like we really have to give this a shot. It was in our heart. That's what our heart told us. We went for a tiebreaker to Rabbi Breitowitz, and Rabbi Breitowitz spoke to us about the beauty of moving into Eretz Yisrael, and I remember the analogy he gave is a snake shedding its skin. He just said, you have a certain lifestyle here in America, and you don't understand, when you get to Eretz Yisrael, it's just like you're a different person, because you're in a different environment. You're like a snake shedding the skin. You can't compare. It's all of a sudden you'll be. Anyway, so Rabbi Breitowitz made Aliyah a few years later, and I actually got a call from him. He said, "Oh wow, that was a lot easier telling you to make Aliyah when he got to Sameach." He's still dealing with some of his challenges. And recently, when I had the exit interview conversation with Rabbi Breitowitz, we spoke a lot about that, and so in retrospect, I do have to say that that really everyone was right. Everyone's advice was correct. I am happy that even though Rabbi Sachs was right, and which is why we're not moving back to Passaic, because I don't want to deal with his attitude and his trash talking when we get back. So that's out. Even though he was right, there was one thing which is very obvious to myself, to Tara, certainly to the kids, which was that he took it as a reason not to come, and that certainly has not been the case. And when I think about all the things that we were able to do here, and I'm not going to get emotional, not because I'm not emotional, not because I'm about that, and I actually want to get emotional, but I don't want to give Steve satisfaction. But learning with Steve for 16 years of Chavrusa. Everyone who asks me why we're going, I'm trying to find a better Chavrusa, but it's not true. That's probably not going to happen. But that's really now when my father-in-law was cautioning me about coming back. So our attitude at the time, what did we do? How were we going to handle this? So we said, well, we're going to be going with friends, people that we know, and there's going to be all these people, and it's going to be a different thing than it is now, which was 16 years ago. And things are going to probably change. And in many ways, that ended up also to be true. There are a lot of people in this room who were very instrumental in the klal, in the entire community, really changing, and in Klal Yisrael going forward. And we thought at the time, we were young and idealistic, and I think it was a good thought. We thought, well, if people like us don't come, then there'll never be that kind of influence. And we gave ourselves that much credit. And I'm glad we did. And I think we're all glad we did. And while there are people here who have made impact on the entire community, by building schools and having influence in many other ways, it's also the individuals who comprise those schools who have made an impact just by being who they are, and certainly on our lives just by being there for us and being who they are. And so it's really each individual here that made the experience so incredibly enriching. And so it's way beyond not having regrets. It's more like we can't believe how lucky and fortunate we've been. Set aside the fact, that Moshe Rabbeinu would have, done anything to have a year, and we had 16 years and all that. Just how much fun we had, and just how much, how successful and, enriching it was. Happens to be I have tons of childhood friends, which I don't have. Turns out I don't have it in Baltimore. Not only that, I was there for Shabbos, and I was like doing my thing, trying to make inroads with new friends. I had a whole bunch of jokes, like Baltimore themed jokes, ready to go. I practiced pronouncing Baltimore, and I feel like I had it down. And people give me this look like, why is this middle-aged, washed-up guy trying to be my friend? Because I have to get like a little sense of where I am now in life. But that you guys don't have to worry about that. It was a very, very awkward thing, the timing. We spent, when we were in America, the 3 weeks, when we were more in the base of Mikdash, we were spending pretty much the entire 3 weeks getting integrated in Chutz La'aretz. And those were the weeks that we found the schools, and I found employment opportunities, and a house. And it was a very odd feeling, but it was also a very powerful feeling that during this time that Klal Yisrael is basically commemorating the Churban, we experienced this embrace of Chutz La'aretz, and part of what that started off for us was this feeling that we're not just doing this like woohoo, going into the lap of luxury, with I don't know, rainbows and Skittles coming from the ground, unicorns, following us, and all this fanfare, and going in with a tremendous amount of sort of excitement, but rather with a real sense of we're doing it for a reason, and we're hopefully, Be'ez Hashem, it's going to be for a good reason, but it is a sign of the fact that we're not yet in Yemos HaMashiach, that we are doing it, and we're happy that we're going with a sense of not, with tempered, you could say, excitement, sort of a sense of looking forward to gaining what we can out of it, but at the same time realizing that the goal is to be able to integrate and to make it back to Eretz Yisrael. And then now, as we are about to leave, as everyone's leaving their homes into their Diras Arai, we feel similarly that we're leaving our permanent residence to a Diras Arai, and the truth is that our Diras Arai was one of my favorite parts of our house. It was always filled with tremendous simcha, and it was actually decorated, I thought, really nicely, and I don't usually notice these things, and it was a really fun place, and a place where people can feel comfortable, and so we're hoping that this Diras Arai in Baltimore will be like a place with a lot of good ushpizin, and we'll go on good tiyulim, back to Eretz Yisrael, back to the Kotel, and back to Ramat Beit Shemesh, and coming in and out of the Diras Arai to the Diras Keva with regularity. And so if our Diras Arai in Baltimore can have at least some of the Kedusha of the Diras Arai here in Ramat Beit Shemesh, then it means that we will have done well. I'm almost done. It's non Simchasenu, so it's a very weird sort of manifestation of Simcha. So Dr. Pelkovitz, there was a period in my life, it was actually pretty recent, when I was in touch with Dr. Pelkovitz, and in touch 4 times a day with Dr. Blas, and David Blas, and and he's a triple threat because he's a really good buddy, and he also has a lot of Baltimore knowledge, so he can throw me some ropes, and he also has a lot of professional advice, not orthodontic. Anyway, so